Alright, guys, I hope you are all doing well. Exams is fast approaching, and we all know that, hey, at this point, unless we help each other, so this is the little way I can support. I promise to meet some of you people on Wednesday, and I want to try and do some of the lessons recorded. So if I'm able to do some of the lessons recorded, that means if God gives us Wednesday, we are not going to discuss those lessons. I mean, please let me be sure that my sound is being recorded. Okay. All right. So we are going to look at the slides on strategy separation or restructuring strategy. Okay. So what is restructuring? In a simple term, it says is any change concerning the way an organization carry its operation. So it is a significant reorganization of an organization structure, processes or functions to improve efficiency, adapt to market changes and reduce cost or enhance competitiveness. So the reorganization of an organization structure. When we talk of organization structure, we are talking about uh, how the organization is structured. That is looking at the organogram. So if you take ATU for instance, how is ATU structured? Okay, I learned we have the how do you call it? The vice chancellor, followed by the pro vice chancellor, followed by the uh, registrar, followed by the assistant or vice registrar in that way. Okay, so which unit fall under which department? Okay, or which department fall under uh, which management or so. So if you go to some organizations, we have the administration. Under the administration, they have several departments or several units. Okay, ATU has teaching and non-teaching staffs and departments. So if you take the teaching, we have the various departments. That is the structure that we are talking about. Then we talk about processes. Some organizations use bureaucracies, especially Accra Technical University. Before something will be accepted, it has to go through a lot of processes. Okay, that is the processes that we are talking about, or functions to improve efficiency. So the basic function of Accra Technical University is teaching, but they may decide to add other functions. Okay, they may decide to add other functions to improve what efficiency, adapt to market changes. So the changes that come into the market day in, day out, the organization may try to reorganize itself in order to be able to adapt to these changes to reduce cost and then or enhance competitiveness. Then we have options of what strategic restructuring. We have the downsizing, the consolidation, and then the cutbacks. For the downsizing and cutbacks, it's quite confusing me because I asked ChatGPT and it's almost the same definition for all of them. So downsizing has to do with you reducing the number of employees or the services or the operations that you offer. So let me look at it here. So it's a business strategy where company reduces its workforce, operations or overall size to cut costs, improve efficiency or adjust to the changing market condition. Okay, so it is often used during financial difficulties, mergers or organizational restructuring. Let me look at the cutbacks. So it also refers to the reduction of expenses, workforce or operations as part of company's effort to improve efficiency. So you can see that they are almost the same thing. Now for the consolidation, consolidation has to do with when two or more departments are being brought together to perform uh, the same functions, or their functions have been consolidated, like what the Excellency Jamama has done recently to the ministries. So these are some of the restructuring uh, situations. Okay, so acquisition, merger, divestiture, and other things. Then choices to decisions that you must take, or strategic choices of managers on restructuring. So when you are trying to restructure, these are some of the decisions that you have to take. How to downsize. Are you going to retrain workers or permanently sever ties with them? Okay. When must the downsizing take place? Are you going to do it every year or every 6 months, or you do it as and when it is needed? These are some of the decisions. The third one is which employees would be laid off. You can't just go about and then just be sacking every employee. Some employees are very key to the organization. Then another one is when to stop downsizing. Okay, when to stop downsizing. You have to make sure that depending on the organization, there must be at least a minimum number of workers in the organization. Now, another um, decision that organizations have to take is whether to use a no layoff strategy or a layoff strategy. Okay, so should the organization or firm use a no layoff strategy? If the firm does not use a no layoff strategy, should we use, should it use wage cuts? These are other decisions that you have to take. Should there be temporary layoff or permanent plant closing if the firm uses layoff? Should organizations cushion its termination or use harsh termination? So when you want to sack some of your employees, are you going to cushion them? Will you cushion them, or will you give them some compensation, or you just sack them just like that? Okay, I think these ones are quite strategic variables in strategic decisions. The variables or factors involved in strategic decisions to restructure the managers that managers must consider are the following. So when you're restructuring, okay, yo, mkwano ofisi yo. Ah, so competitive strategy of the organization. Sorry, is my brother. So when you are restructuring, you have to consider. I will meet me pause. Any pause button. Um, some of the factors that you have to consider when you are restructuring. The first one is competitive strategy of the organization. We will get to the competitive strategy later, but it has to do with whether you are using focus, you are using differentiation, or you are using cost leadership. Okay. Then philosophy towards employees by management and technology. Then business cycle effects, the goals. So let's continue. So the competitive strategy of an organization, it has to do with the combination of goals. And when we talk of competitive strategy, it is a strategy that organizations may apply in order to be advantageous in competition. Okay, so the competition in the industry that you are operating, what are the strategies that you're going to apply? Are you going to use the cost leadership strategy, the differentiation strategy, or the focus strategy? Now, the cost leadership, before you be able to determine which strategy you have to use, you have to first segment your customers. Okay, so segmentation has to do with you putting your customers in different groups. Okay, so maybe you have male customers and then female customers, or you have customers from Legon, from Medina, from Tudu. You just segmenting them. That is the first thing that you have to do. The segmentation can take any form. You can segment them based on uh, their gender, that is whether male or female. You can segment them based on their location, salary expectation, so many factors that you have to consider. Then after segmenting them, you have to now look at which strategy are you going to apply. Are you going to use cost leadership strategy? With the cost leadership strategy, I don't know, honestly, I don't know how it has to apply with human resource management. But with the cost leadership strategy, from what I learned in procurement, it has to do with you producing your goods and services in such a way that at the lowest cost possible, you are producing and selling your goods and services at the lowest cost possible, such that any competitor who will try to sell below that cost will have to run at a loss. You sell your product at the lowest cost possible, that anybody who will try to sell below that cost will run at a loss. Okay, then we have the differentiation strategy. The differentiation strategy is normally done by uh, Apple. Okay, so this one has to do with you producing your product in a way that is totally different from the other products in the market or the other competitors' products. Okay, so you look at iPhones and you realize that they are different from other smartphones. Okay, they are different from other smartphones. In fact, it is only Apple that uses iOS in their phones. The other phones use Android. Okay, so that is the differentiation strategy. Then we have the focus strategy. The focus strategy, after segmenting your customers, you decide that okay, we will focus on only this group of customers. Okay, maybe we'll produce or sell products that can be used by only male customers. Okay, or we can sell to only customers that stay at Legon. That is the focus strategy. Then should the next slide is looking at, should organization or firm use a no layoff strategy? What are no layoff strategy? Which factors contribute to organization choosing a no layoff strategy? So no layoff strategy is about decreasing the size of the workforce without any layoff or termination of any employee or employees. So with that one, you are not sacking anybody, you are not suspending anybody, you are not telling anybody to go and stay at home. Okay, when they leave, you don't employ others. Okay, so no layoff strategies involve a combination of three alternatives as follows. The first one is firms can reduce the workforce through attrition. So attrition has to do with natural exit of employees. Okay, natural exit of employees. When employees leave organization by retiring, or when they take transfers, or when they quit. Okay, these are the natural ones. So when they leave, you don't employ any other worker to fill their vacancy. That is what we talk. That is what we mean by reducing workforce through attrition. They can also provide for worker reassignment or retraining. Okay, reassignment or retraining. So maybe like how it happens at Accra Technical University, at some point there is rotation of what employees. So somebody from the procurement department, or the secretary at the procurement department, may be asked to move from the procurement department to maybe the academic affairs or the admissions office. Okay, so that is the rotation of what the workers. Okay, or reassignment or retraining. You may decide to also retrain them. Then they can loan out their employees to other firms. They can loan out their employees to other firms. Um, I don't have much example on this one. So with the attrition, like I said, has to do with when the workers go on retirement, when they resign, you don't employ any other workers again. Then the most common method of no layoff restructuring is through reducing the workforce through stopping the growth as in the total number of employees. So there are three basic methods of attrition. That is hiring freezes in new and planned jobs, non-replacement of job vacancies, non-replacement of fired workers. So freeze in new branch job. That is, if you tend to open a new branch or a new office, you don't employ a new person to come there. You will take an old worker to fix into that new office. You don't employ a new worker to come there. The non-replacement of current job vacancies. So maybe somebody retires, okay, so there will be a vacancy of that office, but you don't replace them. Okay, then you have no replacement of fired workers. When you fire some workers, you don't look for new workers to replace them. Okay, so I think this one is just a continuation of the other ones. Alright, so we say there are two advantages of hiring freezes. They can help a firm immediately control costs and can save other related costs in hiring new employees. Okay, so when the workers go on retirement or when they resign, it means that cost is being controlled or is being reduced. So the money that you are supposed to be paying that worker every month is being saved. And then you also save other related costs in hiring. The cost of announcing that there is a vacancy and those stuffs, the cost of interview, all those costs is being reduced. So hiring freezes can have a negative impact on current employees and can result in the loss of competitive advantage from failing to gain new and valuable skills. So this has to do with the existing employees. I remember when I was working in one organization as a large format printer, at some point I wanted to stop the job because I felt my boss was using me. But there was someone who was working there before I went there. He explained some things to me, and then I realized that no, I don't have to leave. Actually, this is it. When I first started working there, I was making some petty mistakes that was costing the organization. And instead of the boss deducting from my salary, he considered the fact that I'm a new employee and it is anxiety and stress that is causing me to make those mistakes. So from the beginning, he stopped. He wasn't deducting from my salary. But I got to a point he deducted once, and since then the mistake stopped. Okay, so this guy reminded me of all those things and said, yes, your boss is using you to do certain things that uh, is not part of your job description, but also consider some past when he also considered you. Instead of firing you, he decided to maintain you. Okay. Now it got to a point when the management were planning to restructure the organization. They wanted to move from where we were, from the location that we were to a new location. And then my boss was telling me that she was going to lay off that guy who I went to meet in the organization. He was going to sack him and let me continue doing my job. The reason being that I have now become experienced in operating the machine, so there won't be any much effect or negative effect if the other guy who convinced me to stay is being sacked. Okay. And when he said that, I said to myself that if he sacks that guy, I'll also leave the organization because the guy explained to me that he was the one who started the organization with this boss when the company had nothing. He started the company with the boss from scratch. So I was of the view that if you're going to sack somebody who started with you from scratch, it means that in the nearby future, if you get somebody who also becomes experienced like me, sacking me won't be anything difficult for you. So once you sack this guy, I will also go. So you see, it has a negative impact on me. My morale to continue working for the organization has reduced. Okay. Then also leads to loss of competitive advantage from failing to gain new and valuable skills. So if the guy was sacked, in fact, when we left the organization has not been able to pick up to that level that it was. Now it has to give their jobs to other companies to do for them. It was a printing company, so now they can't print because they don't have the qualified workers to do the job for them. Okay, so the competitive advantage, they take the job and give it to other competitors to print for them. So the money now goes to the other competitors. Okay, that's it. So if you look at this point, the firm do not replace those who naturally leave the organization. That is the attrition, as I explained. People who quit, retire, die, or leave at the end of a contract are considered to have naturally left the organization. Sorry. Yes, so these people are not replaced. That is the attrition method. Employees who are fired by the organizations or firm are not replaced. I don't want to be wasting time on the slides because it's loaded. Now, for the layoff, it involves temporary reduction in organizations' workforce, and they are particularly common in cyclical industries. Okay, so let's take for instance those who manufacture umbrellas. Okay, so you realize that when it gets to the rainy season, those who sell the umbrellas may employ a lot of people to be helping them sell the umbrellas. Okay, but after the rainy season, they may tell their workers that okay, now you are not getting markets, so you should go and sit at home. When it's time for us to sell umbrellas again, we'll call you. Okay, so they remain the employees of the organization and continue to receive benefits. Okay, the layoffs also enable or allow firms to reduce labor costs temporarily without losing vulnerable employees. So with this one, you are not sacking them. According to Madam Emilia, you are not sacking them. You are just asking them to leave their job for just a short time period and then come back when they are needed. So there are other methods. You have indefinite layoffs, reduced shifts, using plant or office closing, reduced work week, supplementary. Uh, so organizations may use, that is, we are now looking at termination. Organizations may use employee termination as part of restructuring strategies. That is, you closing down a plant or you sacking some employees totally. So these are some of the termination types. We have the leave them naked termination strategy, the forced resignation, early retirement. Yes, that's it. So for the leave them naked strategy, when the employees are sacked, they are not given any kind of protection or compensation benefits, okay, or at placement services. No severance pay, counseling benefits, and at placement services are provided to such persons. Okay, but maybe they can give them some small cash. Okay, um, then we have forced resignations. Okay, the rest I think they are quite. Now let's look at this question. We have what is the effect of restructuring on employees? What are the effects of layoff strategies of individuals and firm? For individuals, layoffs may have long-term effects on individual. I think we have to solve these questions later. Alright, that brings us to the end of this lesson. Thank you.